It's 6 o'clock. I call the meeting of the Diamond Head Property Owners Association Board together. Could I have the roll call, please?
President Sislo,
Present.
Vice President Giarrusso,
Here.
Treasurer Blackwood,
Here.
Secretary Damians, here, Director LaFontaine,
Present.
Director Lee,
Here.
Director Nutting, Director Pino,
Yes.
Director Strohmeyer, Director Tubbs, and ex officio Becker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes, please.
Approval of minutes, February 17th, 2025. Minutes were approved by email vote completed on February 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Approve or amend the meeting agenda. Does anyone have a motion to amend the agenda? I ask that because I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. I would like to place motion 2510, which is the motion to approve the configuration of the pickleball courts with all the rest of its information, put it in postponed status. According to a discussion I saw in the minutes by the Recreation Committee, there's further consideration going on to that initial request. And in looking at what's the best way, rather than dragging this from meeting to meeting, I found that you can postpone a motion. And it allowed, since there's some uncertainty on when it will be ready, and the board's not ready to vote, then we can postpone it until such time as the information is put together, bring it back to the board. That allows it not to just drag along, but also to remain as a viable motion until such time as the details are approved. Does anyone have any other discussion or questions about my motion? All those in favor of amending the agenda to place motion 2510 into postponed status, please raise your hand. Are those opposed? Okay, the motion is passed, and so that moves that agenda item. The President's report. The board has been working with the general manager and the board committees to try to manage the challenges presented by the reduction of income that comes from 40% of members not paying dues. One of the things we've done is we've begun exploring details behind those income numbers to see if we can clarify who is paying and who is not. And that's because we have members in perpetuity who are paying, some in perpetuity who are not, as well as those who are voluntarily paying, and there are many others who are not. And these details will help us better understand the exact source of our income and what needs to be addressed to get the POA to solvency. And that goes hand in hand with the cost reductions that we've begun implementing on 3 fronts. And these fronts include the administration changes, bar and restaurant operation changes, and amenity changes. Our goal is to reduce operating expenses by $700,000 per year. I'll say that number again, $700,000. I'm going to defer to the general manager report for more details. I need to keep saying this, and that is change is not easy. It is hard, it's difficult, it doesn't feel good. But in the end, it is inevitable. Just as all of us are getting a little longer in the tooth and more mature in our lives, change is going to happen. This board, however, is working really hard to try to assure we find solutions that result in having our community retain its unique amenities and all the value that we all hold to this place. I can right now only speak to the goals. We're continuing to work on the details, but we are working hard to make this work out. Thank you. Mr. Goldstein, would you like to do your report, please? Sure.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. All right. Good evening, everybody. First thing I want to do is talk about the properties so that we can get grounded in understanding where we are. There's 5,998 eligible properties in the town. Currently, we have 3,821 people that are paying, which is 63%. So the 37% of the eligible properties are not paying dues. This is what is one of our challenges. We also have properties that are in perpetuity. We have 2,478 properties in perpetuity, which is less than 50%. And of the 2,478, we have 248 in perpetuity that are not paying. That's created an outstanding balance of non-payers of $187,000. 15 of those properties make up $115,000. So there's some folks that haven't paid for quite a period of time, and we're actively pursuing all of those. We're obviously going from the highest to the lowest, but we have started a process now of collecting the dues. So there'll be phone calls, followed by letters, followed by court if we have to. But we do have a process in place now for going after that money. Okay. Secondly, as I told everybody before, we have to go after $700,000 in savings. We've already started to work on some of those, and I wanted to just give you an idea of where this has taken us so far. In the month of February, our revenue was $782,000 versus expenses of $760,000. We actually turned a profit of $22,000. So very happy to say that. And then if we just looked at pure cash flow, we were $84,000 positive. That's without depreciation. Now that was due to a few things. Number one, reduction in expenses. Number two, high sales due to Mardi Gras. And number three, the cut of capital expenditures. So there is no plans right now to spend any capital unless it's for emergencies only. We have to keep all of the cash flow we want. The bar and restaurant this month was $18,000 profitable versus $36,000 non-profitable in the same period last year. So that's a $52,000 swing for that month. Again, I think the Mardi Gras had a lot to do with it. So let's just say that it's one data point, but one data point doesn't make a trend, but hopefully we're moving in the right direction. We've still got a considerable ways to go. And with that, let's talk a little bit about the amenities. So one of the things we're trying to do is preserve the amenities as much as possible and give everybody the same experience we can. But at the same time, we've got to find $700,000. The tennis world is currently down to less than 20 members. Our plan right now is to lease the tennis world to the tennis pro Matt Garman. That's going to happen by the end of this month. And that'll give him an opportunity. He believes he can grow the business by lowering his costs significantly. It'll bring in a lot more people, and he'll make a lot of money on lessons and other things like that. So we're going to give Matt a chance to be successful in starting his own business. The community center will close at the end of May. We have 7 events that are left on the schedule, which we're honoring, and we'll take care of that. We're not taking on any more reservations, but we just have to do that. Post-election, we'll be talking to the city about possibly a purchase of the community center. And lastly, the holiday pool. When it comes to the pools, we looked at the overall volume of who was using them. The holiday pool gets 7% of the overall volume. It's hardly used. We're going to close the holiday pool. That'll save us somewhere between $50,000 to $60,000 a year by shutting that pool down. And the other thing we're doing with the pools is we're putting a keypad system in place, which will allow us not to have to put attendants there. You'll be able to go in, put your POA number in, and it'll allow you to get into the gate. We're testing that. Actually, we're testing that tomorrow to see if that works, and if it is, we'll be able to do that throughout. Maybe even add that to the pickleball courts as a possibility. So that's the current plan right now. We're going to continue with some restructuring in our operations, and then this amenity stuff. And we're going to just learn how to manage the business a lot stronger, and we think we can drive home the savings. So we're not going to spend any capital, as I said, until later in the year. Once we start to turn a profit and build up our bank accounts, then we'll be able to engage a capital plan again. All right. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anyone have any questions for Mr. Goldstein?
Questions? Yes.
I've worked at the North Pool for 3 years as an attendant, so we're not gonna have a job.
No, you're not going to have a job.
I'm glad you told us. I mean, you know, we've all been asking, and,
Oh, nobody's talked to me, but.
well, I talked to Diane, and she never knew, and
Excuse me, we don't really want to have a back and forth, too much discussion. Maybe Mr. Goldstein and you could talk after this meeting and go through that,
courtesy, let
please.
us know, you know, if we had a job or not.
You know, we're making some really tough changes at quick time, so you're right. Some of our communication's not so great, but we'll work on that. Again, could we just have some private conversations after this meeting rather than a back and forth? We really didn't plan for a back and forth yet.
I have a question. The bar and dining room area, is that continuously profitable or is it a problem?
It has been a problem in the past. We're addressing it
Okay.
from both a quality standpoint and a cost standpoint.
Just consideration. I have a gentleman who currently has a restaurant in Diamond Hill who would be interested in possibly taking over that facility if the board made a deal with Slippery Fund, which would eliminate the cost to us and might be a way to reduce some of the.
All right, set up a meeting with me, and we'll certainly discuss it. I'm open to many ideas.
The members, you said there were 20 members, do they know, or what direction should they?
I don't know, but we're going to honor their memberships anyway throughout the year. They're not going anywhere.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I skipped committee reports. Mr. Pinow, do you have a committee report?
The Marina Committee did not meet last month, but the Admin Committee did. I was here a meeting or two ago, and I talked about potential sale of the airport. I talked about an investor who came forward who wanted to help us improve pickleball. Those discussions are not dead, but they're moving very, very slowly. And we're going to continue to pursue those kind of things as the general manager discussed. We're discussing all those amenity issues. And as a matter of fact, the board needs to discuss as a board, and the entire membership needs to get involved in this, is discussing what the POA should look like in 3, 5, 10 years or whatever. I suggest you make your views known. And if you have ideas and you have concerns, you have issues, bring them forward. It should be clear to everybody that we need to prioritize our limited resources and provide services to the most members possible as our finances will permit. The amenities that do not or cannot generate income to pay their own way or serve a very limited number of members like the holiday pool cannot continue indefinitely unless things change. So make your views known. The admin committee has been talking about the collection process with the GM and staff, and there's continuing to be made some tweaks to that process. I just want to make a reminder to everybody that the POA does not pursue collections of dues that were incurred after someone's covenants expired. The only dues that we pursue through collection or through letters or any other way is for dues that were incurred when covenants were fully in force. Now, there's 15 members, as the GM mentioned, who account for unpaid dues of over $115,000. That's unacceptable. There are a large number of members who have judgments that we've already obtained from them for unpaid dues when their covenants were fully in force, and they've not done anything to satisfy those judgments. We are going to pursue those people. We're going to pursue them aggressively. If you owe us money for legitimately, for legitimate dues that were incurred but not paid, we're going to pursue you. And I would suggest you make arrangements to come talk to us and pay off those debts now while it's cheaper to do so, because it will be more expensive later to do that. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. LaFontaine?
The House Committee did not meet.
Thank you. Mr. Giarrusso?
The Facilities Committee didn't meet.
Neither member of the Recreation Committee is available tonight, but they did provide their minutes, and I want to give you a quick summary of the Recreation Committee meeting that happened on March 11th. And the first discussion was the motion 2025-06 about approving the pickleball reconfiguration. And the committee wanted the motion to be tabled, so that was part of my motion to postpone it, because the committee would like to view the various investments and see what they can come up with as a funding opportunity. The Rec Committee also talked about pay-for-use amenities and assuring that those members in good standing have access to the amenities and others are paying for them. They talked about trying to come up with a way to conduct a survey of all members to better determine the amenities most valued by those who pay dues. And we do want to see if we can go forward with that. They did discuss briefly the leasing of Tennis World. The committee also talked about the embracing the cost savings approach of having the pool staffed, using the key cards instead of having the pool staffed. So these were topics that the Recreation Committee discussed. Mr. Blackwood, do you have anything?
I have nothing to add.
Mr. Becker?
I have nothing to add.
Mr. Lee?
The Golf and Grounds Committee did meet back on March 5th. Just a couple of quick points from the Green Superintendent. Number 11, the sodding is almost complete over there, but it'll remain a par 3 until after some of the roots take effect, so probably another month or so before it actually is being turned back into a par 4. The irrigation pumps on the Pine were replaced last week. While they were doing that, they found that the controller was broken. As that controller is probably 25 years old, it is obsolete, so a new one had to be purchased. There's a motion in front of the board today for that EFT controller. It's a variable drive controller. It's one of those things that just has to be replaced to get the new pumps online. There was no report from the director of golf as Chris was out of town, but other than that, I mean, the courses have been extremely busy. We've had a couple of big groups this month from different organizations. The Chicago group came back down. The Mid-South seniors were here this time. We're about 70 to 80 people. So it's been a busy month. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any POA member comments on agenda items?
No, there are not.
Okay, we go to the regular agenda. We have motion 2025-09. Motion to purchase the VFD control box for the pine watering system. Who would like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Blackwood, anybody want a second?
Second.
Mr. Lee, who would like to comment on that?
I can. Like I said, the motion, it's just basically, it's a drive controller for the downhole pumps. It's a necessary part of the equipment, and the last one was over 20 years old and obsolete, so there's no repairing it. So,
And the financial impact is 6,000 plus, 4,000,
yeah.
6,043, 47,
correct.
and that's the full price.
That's
There's
the
no.
full price installed.
Okay. Are there any other comments? Anybody like to say something?
Yeah, I would.
Please.
I don't like the idea of spending money right now for anything that is not absolutely necessary. But you have to be practical, and just as if a window is broken, you have to fix the window, or else you're going to cause more damage. I put this in that category, that it needs to be done in order to keep the course in the condition that it needs to be kept in. So, although I don't like the idea of this, and it's probably not truly an emergency item, but I think it's necessary, and so for that reason, I would probably vote for this.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just one more comment. I mean, I may have mentioned it before, but one of our courses, we have two courses here. One of our courses last year had the 10th most recorded rounds as far as entering handicap in the country. We get that much play. So, I mean, having a robust watering system is a necessity. So it's part of keeping the product that we have and keeping the people coming. Thank you.
And I think we all need to keep in mind that our basic charge is to maintain these amenities in the manner to which they were provided us, the best that they possibly can. So we're charged with that. Any other comments? Okay, I call the vote. All those in favor of passing this motion? And those opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Do I have any member comments on non-agenda items?
We have two. First up is Dennis Bordelon.
Mr. Bordelon? Come up front, to the mic up here. The green light should be on. You have about 3 minutes, so I'm going to put a little timer on.
Okay. I'm a new member. I moved here like last year. I adopted 3 children. I have 2 foster children living with me, and I moved here. I sold my paradise out in the country to move them here to a city that had amenities for them to enjoy. And every time I pick up the Diamond Head paper, this is not good, we're losing this, we're taking this away, we're in a hole. Okay, it's not a pleasant atmosphere for us right now, especially newcomers. I look at the financial that's reported in that same paper. I had to take a snapshot of it, blow it up on my phone so I could read it. It's so small. And just from what I seen in the paper that came out in March, we lost around $190,000 in 1 month. Okay. So, and then I did not know the exact number of houses. I Googled it. It came up with like 4,200 residences in Diamond Head. Okay, so I just took a guesstimate of possibly 2,100 homes that we're not collecting on. So I think the number's a little higher from what I heard the general manager speak of. Okay, so if we offered a little more incentive to the people that dropped out, okay, if you're not using a baseball field, you're not collecting anything on it. If you only have 20 members at a tennis association, you're going in a hole because those 20 members are probably not paying the light bill that I see every night when I pass the court going home. I'm also thinking that maybe if we offered an incentive to homeowners to maybe reduce the fees for Tennis World and possibly offer maybe one round of golf per month to each new member that signs up for the dues, that can gain another $60 a month. I'm sure there's a free tee time on a golf course where you can squeeze a few more members in where it's not being used, and that revenue can come to help break down the costs. Also, I looked at, I'm trying to get an idea how we can lose $34,000 on the pier house. I'm not familiar with what's all involved in the pier house. Is that portable building by the boat launch? Is that sound right? Or?
The pier house is the old name for what is now known as the camp house.
Oh, the camp house. Okay. As I said, I'm
Yeah,
new and
it's
I'm
an
and
old
I'm learning.
name.
I'm
It's
thinking,
okay.
I knew they put in a portable building over there for the.
You got a little bit of time, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that makes a little sense. I'm thinking why you would just pay that much money. But my main concern is, hey, we're looking at closing pools, and I think pools are probably the less expensive item on the agenda to close as far as maintenance. I know we only have one pool open year-round over by me on the East Rec, and I don't know who's swimming in 32-degree weather. Are we paying an attendant for there just to sit out there and watch the water wrinkle with ice chips forming around the outside? So we need to reevaluate, hey, the hours of that pool, is it costing us money to have people sitting there? The tennis, my time's up.
Your time's up.
Okay. Anyway, so my best bet is, hey, look out for the young people in the neighborhood, because soon they will be our age and they're the ones going to inherit this. So if we shun them off now, this place will fail.
You're right. Thank you so much for your comments. And then,
Ron Unterreiner.
Unterwriter, I don't know, maybe Bob will have it spelled out for you.
Yeah, I came to talk about our golf course. More specifically about our antiquated tee times that are costing members aggravation and costing the club money. We have a situation where we have what is called legacy players who are allowed to make tee times 60 days in advance. And I defy anybody to tell me if they're going to be able to play in 60 days. That happens. They're making 4 tee times, using 2. Happens all the time. I talked to the starters. Today we went out. All the tee times were booked. We didn't see anybody in front of us and nobody behind us, which means they're not showing up. They're booking tee times that they're not using. It's costing 2 things. It's costing aggravation to members, and it's costing us the inability to sell those tee times to the casinos or wherever, the people would call in but want to buy. I used to come down here from Missouri and play here all the time. Right now, if somebody wanted to come in, there's a poor chance of getting a tee time. Next Monday, there were no tee times when we tried to get a tee time for next Monday. There were no tee times available until 1:30 in the afternoon. Now, we're dues-paying members and been here for a long time. And I don't know what a legacy person is, but I've been here since 2000. Now, I left for a couple of years because my wife had passed away and came back. But basically, I've been here 25 years, and I don't have legacy. And Pat's been here 25 years. He doesn't have legacy. We came into a group that was in existence, and that group doesn't have legacy. So it's costing us money, and it's just not fair to the members. The legacy people pay dues. I pay dues. I pay the same as they do, so I should have the same rights as they do. And I don't know how suddenly we got people that have special privileges when we're looking for money and time. Now, going on a little bit further with that.
You got about 30 seconds.
One?
You have about 30 seconds.
Okay. On the same vein, our tee times are scheduled at 9 minutes apart. Nobody scheduled 9-minute tee times. If we schedule it back to 8 minutes, we'd get 5 more rounded people out in the morning and 4 more out in the afternoon, just by scheduling 1 minute off tee times. And let's see what else was, if I got time. That pretty well covers it. You know, we have a problem with the just not being able to get members out to play when the course is empty. And if you talk to the starters, and if they're honest with you, they'll tell you, well, I haven't seen anybody in 30 minutes. But you go back and look at the tee sheet, and a legacy group had 4 tee times, used 2. So
Thank you.
it's a problem with the members.
I was going to say I saw in the committee minutes that they're talking about legacy tea time, so thank you very much for bringing that up. Is there anyone else?
We have one,
No, just,
we have one more addition, Paulette Snyder.
Paulette Snyder, I am a member in good standing on more than one property. And I know that most people here have run on a platform of transparency. Well, I've called several times and asked questions of a lot of you about the airport, the marina, and other amenities that we have, and if they have been approached for sale. We need the amenities, we all know. We want the amenities, we don't have the funds. It's obvious. What do you do when you don't have the money to support the amenities? Well, sell the amenities is what I'm hearing. So my question is, I'm a real estate agent. How do I market your house if it's on a golf course to a future golfer if you don't have a golf course? If you're on the airport, how do I market your home to an aviation community? Or do I tell the seller their home is worth less money and market as an interior home? My question earlier this week was, is the marina for sale? Is the airport for sale? And has it been discussed? And the answer was, we haven't talked about it. When I looked back, in February 17th, right here in this meeting, when I looked back on YouTube, it was discussed right here. We need a little more transparency to each and every one of us, because we have to look for our future. I have to look out for my clients, my buyers and my sellers, and the people that I love in this community. Please give us some more transparency.
okay.
You know, I have to tell you that I don't know who you asked earlier the week and was told it's not been discussed, but I've discussed it here tonight, and I discussed it several meetings ago. So,
It wasn't you I talked to this week.
well, there is a committee. There is a marina or an airport committee. I'm the chairman of that committee. I suggest you talk to me.
Okay, thank you. Does that complete our list?
That completes our list.
All right, then. Our next meeting will be on, do I have a date? Monday, April 21st at 6 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Mr. Blackwood, Mr. Gio.